Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Time to Rise and Shine. My name is Kendra Moore. I am your life insurance agent here to talk about mindset, money, motivation, all the things that go together when it comes to helping you understand different ways that you can make and save money, protect money, all of that leveraging life insurance. So, I hope everyone is having a good Friday. It has been a crazy busy week for me. All good things. Summertime is, we're in the midst of summer here in Orlando. Today, our feels like temperature is 108 degrees. And you guys, I don't know if it's because I was in Delaware for 23, 24 years, but the heat, I cannot take it. I'm letting you know right now, it is brutal out there. All right. So I wanted to talk about let me see. Do I need this light? I have this camera light, but I don't keep it charged. All right. So bear with me while I do this. All right, that's a little bit better. So I wanted to talk to you guys today about term life insurance. So one of the things in the role that I have in helping people to protect themselves, protect their families, protect their assets, I go out and I meet a whole bunch of people at networking events. I'm always at a networking event. If you follow me, you see I'm always out there meeting people. And there is something interesting. It's very common no matter what demographic I'm talking to. And especially when it comes to people who may be middle income versus people who are super high income, a lot of people don't know what it is that they can do when it comes to life insurance. So last night I was at a real estate investor event. And for the real estate investors, they had wholesalers there, they had builders there, they had people who are the investors. Those are the people with the bank, right? So they were there. And so the reason why I went is because I'm like, these people need insurance, right? And also too, and this is a topic I'll cover another time on another one, but you can use life insurance to help protect your physical assets like a building, a home, etc. But at any rate, so I was talking to this guy, and he actually was hosting the investor realtor event. And this was at a luxury furniture store. And so he was like, he oversees all of the luxury furniture stores in the US for this brand. And so he and I got to talking, and he just got married. He has a kid. He's got some stepkids. So I said, oh, do you have, are you covered, life insurance wise? So he was like, yeah. And again, I'm talking to you guys about term life insurance. So he was like, yeah, I have coverage. He was like, yeah, I think I have it for like 20 years. So I was like, okay, so you have term life insurance. So he said, yeah, I have term life insurance. So we got to talking, and I realized that this man with all this responsibility, who is, making all this money, really did not understand how term works. So from that conversation, I wanted to jump on here today to help you guys understand how term life insurance works, what are some of the good and the bad about it, and then how you should be thinking about it in terms of, a couple of strategies to use. So let's get to the basics. So the point of, as you know, the point of life insurance really is to protect your family financially should something happen to you, right? So this means that your family does not have to set up a GoFundMe, does not have to beg for money. They can grieve and not have to worry about, am I going to have to sell the house? Can we still live in this apartment? So it helps with that. There are two different types of insurance, right? There's term insurance and permanent insurance. Most people think of term and whole, but whole is just a type of permanent. There's different types of permanent insurance. So when it comes to term life insurance, I'm going to start this because I'm going to go live for a little bit on Instagram. So, all right, good. So when it comes to term life insurance, the reason why a lot of people like term life insurance is because term life insurance is inexpensive, right? So you can get a lot of coverage for less costs. Okay. So, for example, I'm working with this young man on his policy. He's in his 20s, early 20s, and he's healthy. He can get a $2 million policy for I think it was like $150 a month. $2 million. So that means he has a young daughter, he has a partner. If something were to happen to him, even if something were to happen to him, he passes away, his family gets that $2 million tax-free, no problem, right? So that is a lot of money for only $150 a month, right? So you get a lot of coverage with term life insurance for less costs. Okay, so that's why a lot of people like term life insurance, because the most important thing is to get covered. So if you don't have a lot, so people who usually fall in this category would be young people, young families, right? Even if you're single, maybe you're just starting up a business or something like that, those are good people for term life insurance. So as I'm talking to this man, I would guess he was probably like in his 40s. And so he got a 20-year term life insurance. So again, with term life insurance, it's in the name. So you get it for a certain term. Once that term is over, the life insurance policy goes away, okay? Unless you renew it. So the conversation that I was having with this gentleman last night, I was like, okay. So he was like, yeah, I think I got it for 20 years and et cetera, et cetera. I was like, okay, how long did you have it? Well, he didn't know how long he had it. But what I told him is what I want to tell you guys today. One thing with the term life insurance is you want to look at putting something in place before that term expires. So life insurance, the rate that you're given is largely, and there's other factors too, like male or females. Males usually get higher rates. Term, how long you're going to have the life insurance policy, but how old you are plays a huge factor, especially when it comes to term life insurance. So you can buy it young and it will be, again, really affordable. But then 20 years later, now you're 20 years older. So when you go to renew that term life insurance, the price increases. And like I was telling this gentleman, it could literally be like hundreds of dollars that this increases, right? Because 20 years have gone by and now you're much older now. So I was telling him, I'm like, well, you need to look at it. And one, if you want to stay with the term, you can renew it for another, maybe you want to renew it, but know that it's going to be at a higher cost. So that's one thing I told him. The other thing is, depending on the term, the company that you went with for your life insurance for a term policy, you may be able to convert that into a permanent policy. So I told him, and again, he's not my client, right? But I'm here to help people and educate people, right? So I told him, I'm like, contact your agent, find out if it's something that can be converted into a permanent policy. Because if it can be, then you likely can get the same rate that you have today. And permanent policies are for the rest of your life. So you can keep it, it won't go up on you, right? So that's another thing. So I wanted to let you guys know that's the first thing in terms of like a strategy when it comes to term life insurance. You really want to look into or go with companies that allow you to convert it into a permanent policy, right? So that way you can leverage that conversion and not have to have that sticker shock when you go to renew. Okay. The other thing is what you can do, and I'm working with a client on this now, is that you can have both a term life insurance and a permanent life insurance plan. You can have those two. It's like a combined approach. You can have those two together. Why do you want those two together? Well, again, The term policy, you have it now you're locking in the rates while you're still young, while you're still healthy, etc. The permanent policy, same thing. You're locking in the rates, but that permanent policy is now building cash value for you. So when this term policy goes away, you have accumulated this permanent policy. I'm sorry, cash in this permanent policy. So, so there's different ways that you can work term life insurance. My main thing that I wanted to let you guys know today is just be mindful. Yes, you can get a lot of coverage for a little bit. Relative to the coverage, it's a great value, But be mindful, keep track, follow up with your agent to see if your term policy is convertible into a permanent, and what strategy should you put in place so you're not waiting 20 years down the line, and when you go to renew, the rate now skyrockets. All right, so that's it when it comes to term policy. So just something for you to keep in mind as you think about maybe getting one, or maybe you already have one and you want to double check it. The last thing that I told this gentleman last night, I asked him if his policy had living benefits, and he did not. He wasn't sure. But some life insurance companies, the ones that I work with, you can get living benefits. So what those are is if you get a chronic terminal illness, I'm missing category. I always miss this category when I say it. But basically what it does is it covers you. Your death benefit, you can use up to a certain percentage. Usually it's like 90%. And that way you don't have to worry about coming out of your pocket when it comes to medical costs. So should you get a heart attack, stroke, dementia, Alzheimer's, maybe you're in a really bad car accident, you can't work, maybe you get a really bad burn, maybe you have serious complications due to diabetes or, something like that. So there's many conditions that covers. So if you're looking at getting a term life insurance, see if it has living benefits. And if you already have a policy, see if it has living benefits in that, okay? Because that's really important. That really protects you in case for some reason you cannot work, right? All right, so that's all that I have for you guys today. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. If you'd like for me to review what you already have, I'm happy to do that. And if you are looking or curious, like just what, a life insurance policy may look like for you, no obligation at all. I'm happy to sit with you and we can kind of look at, some kind of financial strategy for you. All right. And check out my website, more-life.com. There's more information on there about life insurance. And otherwise, you guys have a great Friday. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next week. Take care.